How we going, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin, and as promised, here is my top 10-ish thrash metal albums. And this has been hard. This has been really hard. I narrowed it down to 15. I always find when you do a list, just write it there and then. What's your top 10? Like, what's your favourite? And that's normally the first ones that come to mind for a reason. You know, that's my logic behind it. And I'd add one, and then I'd take one away, and then I'd go, oh, but I can't have that if I'm not going to have that, and I'd go, oh yeah, and it just got stupid, and it was like, right, I'm going to have to listen to everything again, and I can't do that. But then I realised, let's say the top five, the top three, let's say the top five, they're pretty solid. They haven't changed. It all got loose and debatable at the bottom. So I was like, right, I'm just gonna do it because I'll never settle otherwise. Now, I thought I'd do a little twist though. Nothing in this. I'm not including the big four because I'm sick of the big four. I'm sick of talking about the big four. I don't know what the big fascination is about the big four. People get all uppity about the big four and they idolise the big four and they all forget it's the big four, not the best four. So I'm not including the big four. Therefore, it's not going to be the same as everyone else's list. So look, you know, Rust in Priest is brilliant. You know, Peace Cells is brilliant. You know, Master of Puppets is brilliant. You know, you love Slayer. You love Anthrax. You know all that. So that's good. You don't need that. If you are 17 and you don't know what thrash metal is, start with the big four. But apart from that, these are the people that know what they're on about and want something a bit different. So hopefully with this list you'll go, oh yeah, I've always been meaning to listen to that, or maybe, oh yeah, I forgot about that, and it jogs your memory. You go listen to one of these albums. That's the whole point of this list. None of that. Even if I did include the big four, it wouldn't. I don't think it would have affected my list anyway. My two all-time favourite metal albums ever. End of. It's a never-ending battle. Every day it changes. But the top two is Death, Symbolic, and Metallica, Master of Puppets. But Master of Puppets isn't my favourite thrash album. Does that make sense? Because I find that album, it transcends. But so if you really want to be strict, it's Master of Puppets. But if I'm in the mood for thrash, and this is where we're getting. What do I want? What do I mean when I say thrash? What do I look for? And what I like about thrash, what I want is chaos. I want unrestricted, unrelenting. I love hearing a band that is playing so fast and so chaotically, and yet it is somehow just so tight and in sync, where the band is just in lock with each other. But one missed strike of the plectrum on the string, or one drum beat just out of thing, and then the whole thing will just fall apart like dominoes. Not even like a house of cards. I love hearing a band that could just fall apart at any second, and I love violence. I want a soundtrack to the most mental pit you can imagine or think of. That's what I think of with thrash. That white heat energy. And you don't really get that from Master of Puppets. Master of Puppets is a bit majestic and a bit epic, and I think of it more of just like a classic heavy metal album. So, yeah, that's what I want. I want fast, frantic, shredding riffs, mad vocals, pummeling drums. Let's go crazy. So, yeah, like I say, I'm not including any of the big four though. One observation as well, and I've only just realised it as I've gone to record this, and I started to feel really guilty. There's no British bands either. And sorry, I mean, we've got our own big four in a way. So you got Sabbath, Acid Rain, Onslaught. Who's the fourth one? Zentrix maybe? Yeah, I think it's Zentrix. And they're all great. I love Slammer as well. I'm sure there's some I know as well, as soon as I put this out, I'm going to think of an album and go, you dickhead, you forgot that. But yeah, I just got to do it, otherwise I'll never do it. I love Anacrusis as well. But this is only the real proper Thrash album, and it gets a bit. They evolved, expanded out on the next 4 albums. But I've covered Anacrusis. I've got a really in-depth interview with Ken Nardi. You can go back and watch that if you haven't seen it already. Yeah, I feel bad about because I champion British bands. I always have done, but the fact of the matter was, no British bands came up until now. So, anywho, should we get on with it? Right. So this is a bit loose. You know, this is a bit loose at the beginning, but as we go on, I think the top 5 is pretty solid. So here we go. Let's get into it. Right, first up then, I think this is a really underrated album. This is Epidemic with Decameron. Have you ever heard this album? It is awesome. It's real dark, fresh in that nice spot in the 90s where Napalm Death were going a bit, you know when everyone was kind of going groovy and kind of going a little bit industrial, even if they weren't taking the industrial sound, they were taking that industrial feel. Everything went a bit street and a bit gritty. And everyone was getting produced by Colin Richardson, and everyone was getting their artwork done by what's his name? Machine Head, Burn My Eyes, Disincarnate, Dreams of the Carrion Kind. You know, do you remember everyone had the same? I'm pretty sure this is the same guy that did all those artworks. It might have been Colin Richardson that produced it as well. I don't know. I'm looking for it frantically, and I've not done my research. You'd think it would be in here, wouldn't you? But it ain't. Never mind. Here we go. It might be here. Engineered by... No. Mastered. No. Dave McCain did do the artwork though. So yeah, I was right about that. But you know, the band looks like the band produced it themselves, but Mike Martin engineered it. But do you remember that time in the early 90s? So you think Machine Head, think, I don't know, Biohazard, think, think Low era Testament. Yeah, look at that. That's Low, isn't it? You know, that's that cool period in the 90s. So this is a real chaotic thrash metal album, but it feels like it's from that early 90s time. And they slow down and groove it, make things nice and groovy. Not really that melodic, but a bit dark. They slow it down in order to speed things back up. But yeah, there's just some savage stuff on here. Really good album. So Decameron. What's up next? What have we got here? Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, it's about 12 albums. Alright. Yeah, okay. This is fine. Yeah. Alright. Let's carry on. Right. First, second one then. So this is number 11. Death Angel, The Ultraviolence. Again, they were kids when they recorded this album, and it's mental. And there's just I love the urgency. I love the energy, the naivety. This is just a band of, you know, high energy. Just a couple of kids, just striking for gold. Basically, they're all in the studio for the first time, and they're just going for it, and just throwing everything they've got at the wall, just hoping to make an impression. You know. So you've got songs like Thrashers and Evil Priest. Then you've got Killers 1 is a fantastic track as well. Then you've got the Ultraviolence, the instrumental in the middle of the album. But again, it's fucking epic. That opening, even to this day, they open their shows with that riff, and then they normally go into a song. And Death Angel, they ain't done a bad album. They haven't. I mean, the second album, they try experimenting a little bit, and not all of it works, but what doesn't work gets dropped pretty quick. But even then, Bored and what's the one afterwards? I've got to look for it now. What's it called? Metal. Is it Devil's Metal? That's one of my favourites. Yeah, Frolic in the Park. What's the out? Yeah, Devil's Metal. I love that song as well. But that's about as wobbly as it gets. But even that's still really, really good. And then everything they've done since they've reformed has been brilliant. And I think what's the singer's name? Rob. I'm having a complete brain fart here, guys. I can't remember the singer's name, but he has got better with age as well. He's a fantastic singer now, and obviously he's going to be in the new Kerry King solo band as well. That's going all 5 minutes. That's going to last, and yeah, this again just white heat energy, and it's just mental. And yeah, it's a train that could derail any second, and it's the and the tension of watching this train go that could derail any minute is what's so fantastic about it. I think that's what I look for in a thrash metal album. What should we go up with next? Let's go with this one, staying in the same territory. Forbidden Evil. We go slightly a bit more melodic and a bit more into sort of, well, what you had with Forbidden. It's the same. What's the word I'm looking for? The same approach, really, or the same appeal that Anthrax had, is that he had a thrash metal band with a classic metal singer, and Russ Anderson could have stood up against any classic singer, your Bruce Dickinsons, your Rob Alfords of the world, you know, with a bit of tutoring, maybe with a bit of singing lessons, just to help him. He had the natural talent, but if someone had taught him maybe to keep it restricted and, you know, don't know what I'm saying here, with a bit of technicality, maybe he would have been able to build upon it. But even in the last album that he did with a band, he was a great singer. All the albums with him, his vocals were great. I know things get a bit wobbly around the Green album and Distortion, but his vocals aren't ever the problem. That's the back there as well. But no, it's just a fantastic album. Every song on it is great. Like I say, this one is a bit more melodic than probably the rest of us. One more in, it's a bit more, and they could go into a bit more of a classic metal territory here and there, but not much. But still keeping it fresh and keeping it catchy and memorable. Yeah, it's just an effortless listen. It's an album that's grown on me a lot over the years. What next? Let's go with this one next. So yeah, didn't have any British bands, but we did have a German one. Protector. I know. Funny enough, I find Protector to be really underrated. Again, this is a band that I've wanted to do a retrospective on Protector and go through the whole catalogue. Yeah, I mean, something about Protector that I get from Protector that I've always wanted to get but never quite got from Creator. I don't know what it is with Creator. I've really tried with them, but it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't strike me the way it strikes other people. I really do try with Pleasure to Kill, and it just, yeah, I'm just sort of left feeling whatever. But I do really like this. This is savage. This is real harsh. Slightly going into death metal territory. But what's really cool about this is that you get like these interludes in between. Not every song, but the album pauses now and then with these cool melodic passages. With some synthesizers in there as well, and just builds up a nice atmosphere. I mean, it sounds like that horrible album cover looks, you know. Sorry, this is A Shedding of Skin by Protector, and yeah, it is car crashingly fast and heavy and brutal. It's fucking nasty. It's nice. Next up, then, let's stay in that territory. I do really like bands. I mean, there was a lot of this where I was having to knock albums off the list. It was like, yeah, is this thrash or is this death metal? and that's my favourite, is the bands that just walk that line of it could go either way. It could be death metal, it could be thrash, and they could easily stand up to bands on either side of the fence. They could tour with any of them. And this band did 3 fantastic albums. 1 and 2 are pretty much a 1-2 punch. But this album slightly has the only just slightly has the edge over the debut album. But yeah, this is Epidemic of Violence by Demolition Hammer. But the first album, is that down here? The first album's just as good, really. Where's that? Yeah. Tortured Existence. Yeah. Either or, really. But, you know, if someone says no, they preferred Tortured Existence, I wouldn't argue with you. I think, I don't know, this one slightly has the edge. I think Skull Fracturing Nightmare, the opening track, is the one that has the edge for me. Yeah, again, this is just vicious. It's Vinny Day's on drums as well. He's does a phenomenal job, and yeah, just really awesome riffs. It's really catchy as well, and it just doesn't stop. They just don't stop for. There's not an ounce of fat on this, and there's not a stop for breath. It's just all the way through, and it's it's just a bewildering, punishing album, and it's fucking awesome. So yeah, Demolition Hammer, Epidemic of Violence. 3, 4, 5. I'm just thinking. Yeah, okay. Let's do this one next then. This is another one really with it's a 1-2 punch and either or, but I think the debut is the one that has the edge. But yeah, here we go. Exalder, Slaughter in the Vatican. I suppose from the lore onwards, the lore is pretty much like I described with Epidemic. Really, we sort of was getting into the 90s at that point. But the debut album is the one. It's a perfect debut album. Again, full of that piss and vinegar energy. I think Exalder never really got as big as they should have. But then again, they did split up. And I think I listened to a really good podcast with Vinny the other day. And it looks like they probably didn't always do themselves favours. But yeah, this is really rare now. I got it for like £7 at 15. Well, not long after it came out, I think. I think it's about 14, 15 years ago. And I looked it up the other day, and people wanted a fortune for it. But I got mine signed by the band when I saw them in 2016. But riffs, big grooves, big shredding, fantastic vocals from Kyle, great drums, just eight perfect songs. It's just an assault, really. Death in Vain is amazing. Homicide, Desecrator, Exalder, well, the whole tragic period, Legions of Death, Anal Lust, and then the title track, Sort of Vatican. You know, again, it slows down and you know, it slows down just, you know, at the right time, gives you a nice big chunky meaty groove to chew on, and then just slams you back in again with the speed. But fantastic band, and I like everything they've done since the I love their comeback album as well. I saw Exalder. I say this all the time, but it bears repeating. I saw them in 2016, off the back of the Mourn the Southern Skies album at the Underworld, and that was one of the best gigs I have ever been to. It was amazing. So yeah, Exalder. Next one along. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's do this one then. Yeah, right. This one again probably doesn't contradicts what I said a little bit. You haven't really got the white heat intensity, but you do have a lot of technical brilliance on this. But yeah, this is Annihilator. Again, both albums are just as good as each other, but the one I'm choosing today is Alice in Hell. I love the whole back catalogue of Annihilator, really. Even their worst album is still alright. It's still got good songs on it. I think they're at their weakest when Jeff Waters is on vocals. He's a bit of a multitasker. He's competent at everything else. He's a competent bass player. He's a competent vocalist, and he's a pretty nifty producer. But his God-gifted talent is guitar, and he should focus on the guitar. He should let everyone else deal with everything else and just focus on the guitar. Is my opinion. But what he's doing obviously works for him. So fuck do I know. But that's when Annihilator is at the best. Is when they have a full lineup and Jeff is focused solely on the guitar. And what's his name? Oh, he's a great, fantastic singer. He was in Into Eternity, then he was in Iced Earth, and he's now just done the album where they slightly re-recorded Metal. So there was the Metal album, and it's now called Metal. They've re-released it as Metal 2, and they got the drums re-recorded by Dave Lombardo, and the vocals re-recorded by this guy. I can't remember his name. But I hope he stays in the band, because I think he fits Annihilator perfectly. I can't remember his name. Doesn't matter. But anyway, Annihilator, Alice in Hell. It's an album that just works for me. From the Crystal Ann introduction, like kind of acoustic. Alice in Hell, great groovy. Just a classic classic heavy metal album that I think if he should have sold it to Alice Cooper, and that would have been a big hit. It conjures up with the atmospherics of the opening of the track into the song. It just reminds me of. It just brings to mind 80s horror. Is the best way I can describe it. It's this, Nightmare on Elm Street. Saturday night video shop. That classic night in. It just brings that to me. Welcome to Your Death is catchy as hell. Burns like a buzzard blade. Word Salad, one of my favourite solos ever. Is it Word Salad or is it Burns like a buzzard? It just goes and then just kicks into this Van Halen-esque solo. Yeah, I'm sure it's Word Salad. Schizos Are Never Alone is a good instrumental. Yeah, just a perfect album. Neverland's just as good though. Like I say, I love everything by Annihilator, and they are another band I do plan on doing a retrospective on. Right, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, number 5. Right, Devastation, Idolatry, but I've got a really cool edition to show off for you. It's a bit of vinyl porn for you vinyl addicts out there. This is the limited edition by Repulsive Echo Records. This is number 277 of 500, and this is really cool. So let's have a look at this. Do you know what? I haven't included an Overkill album, or Exodus for that matter. Fuck it, I'm going to be here all night otherwise. Right, I really like Overkill and Exodus as well. Just right, if I had to choose a night, either Horoscope, Years of Decay, or Ironbound. There you go. That's my thing for Overkill. There you go. Chuck that in the list somewhere. Yeah, look at this. And then look. Ooh, that's cool, isn't it? And then you can get the vinyl out. Yeah, there you go. But Idolatry by Devastation. Again, it's pretty much what I want from a thrash metal album. I don't ask for much, but when it's done right, I love it, and it just rocks like a bastard. Basically, this is just a. It's funny because this is their third album. And Signs of Life, the one before it, is actually pretty good. And I think once people get a bit bored of this, they move on to Signs of Life and then trick themselves into thinking that they prefer Signs of Life. But it's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have got into the band as you did if that was your first album. This is the one. So you got two solid but unremarkable albums, and then it builds up to this, and then they stopped, unfortunately. But what can I say, really? It's just a perfect set. It's 8 fantastic, crafted thrash metal songs. High energy, high aggression, nice and melodic when needed. The melody as well, especially on track, is it Forsaken Hatred? That yeah, that riff. It's just nice. There might be Souls of Sacrifice, actually, I can't quite remember. But yeah, it's just an awesome album, basically. It's thrash metal done properly. What next? So that was number 5. Number 4, the Daddies, Testament, The Gathering. My edition here. If you can see that, you see that? Just there. It's very fine, but it's signed by Dave Lombardo. I interviewed him not long after he'd. No. It was one of his new projects. It was some 3-piece band. I managed to blag an interview with him. I met him in a hotel and everything. He'd played the Underworld the night before with this 3-piece band. He had left Slayer for a while at that point, but Jeff Hanneman hadn't long died, and I tried to get a Slayer question in there, but he weren't having none of it. There you go. But yeah. I got him to sign Hell Awaits, I got him to sign Phantomus, and I got him to sign that. And he was like, oh man, now this album is awesome. And yeah, he rejoined Testament for about 5 minutes, and it's a shame he didn't stay and do an album with them, but there you go. Yeah, this is when Testament, when everyone else when thrash was struggling and everyone was either selling out or splitting up or whatever, Testament just embraced the underground. They got James Murphy on guitar, Steve DiGiorgio on bass, Dave Lombardo on drums, and basically did a death metal album in thrash metal a thrash metal album in death metal clothing, should we say that? Super heavy, super atmospheric. It's just, again, it's just doesn't let up all the way through, even when it goes like slow and dark, like songs like True Believer. It might not be as heavy or thing, but it's still just as dark and atmospheric. And yeah, I don't think you can have a list. This is one of the best metal albums ever recorded. If you see, I've got a thing there, Testament, where I bought the I don't know what the fuck it was really. It was like you bought shares in a song or something, although you couldn't profit from it. It was weird, but you got a really nice art print. You got handwritten lyrics by Chuck. I got it framed and added the other bits. But they did the same with The Gathering. But because I'd already done it once, I didn't see the point of doing it again. But you did get a signed edition of The Gathering. And I was like, well, I've got a signed edition of Formation of Damnation. I met them in... I went to a signing session and got that signed. So I was like, so I'm basically paying for an album that I've already got their signature. I'd like to meet them though. If they ever did like a tour where they did like a meet and greet, I'd be tempted to go to that, so I could get Eric. Oh, Steve's in the band now still, isn't he? So I could get Steve, Eric, and Chuck to sign that. So then I got 4 out of the 5 signatures. But yeah, Gathering is just fucking awesome. It's one of the best albums ever. Right, where are we now? We've got 3 left, haven't we? Right, okay. Number 3. I've only recently discovered this album, but it's gone straight to the top because it is. I love this album from front to back. Again, the band did 4 albums. I like all 4 of them, but this one obviously has the edge. This is Vengeance, or as they were later known as, Vengeance Rising, with Human Sacrifice. And I can't believe these guys ended up restricting themselves just to the Christian metal scene, because they should be. This album alone stands up against anything by anyone, Big Four or not. This band were awesome. I've seen like loads of live footage of the band during this time as well, and they were on fire. And I don't, I think this album's done pretty well over the years, but you never see it in top 10 lists or anything like that. But I've done a retrospective video as well with Scott Walters. But yeah, I absolutely adore this album, and I can't believe I've only just recently discovered it. This should be, if you're a thrash metal fan, this isn't in your collection. I don't know what you're playing at. It is essential, and it stands up against any of your favourite thrash metal band and your favourite albums. Trust me, this stands up to all of them. So yeah, this is, I've only recently discovered this in the last couple of years, but it's gone straight to the top. I love this album. Human Sacrifice, originally known as Vengeance, but they all went on to be called Vengeance Rising, and there's different editions of this where they've changed the title. So there you go. Right, here we go. Number 2. Holy Terror, Mind Wars. Let me get this out for you. Yeah, I mean, Alan Averill probably reviews this better than me. It's Iron Maiden on steroids, basically. Think the first 3 Iron Maiden albums, and then if they went and then decided to go thrash. Holy Terror were together for is this just a standard black font? Oh no, yeah, no. It's a picture disc. I'll be honest with you, I just play this. This is everything, basically. Everything worth getting, or probably a standard one-stop shop. So it's the first 2 albums and 2 live albums. So yeah, just get that to start with if you're new to Holy Terror. They were together for a blink of... I think the demo's in here somewhere as well. Oh, you get a DVD of it as well. The band were together for a blink of an eye. They did a demo, an album, like a year apart, and then boom, split up. But they did 2 near perfect albums. Terror and Submission, I love that album as well. They didn't have a bad song, really. But for me, Mind Wars just gets the edge over it. The only thing wrong with Terror and Submission is that it isn't Mind Wars, basically. And I just think they're slightly more tighter and just got slightly better at songwriting. That's all it is. But all of them are great. I'll just show you this off as well. Yeah, it's a Holy Terror. Mind Wars, again, amazing riffs, amazing songs, amazing vocals, amazing drums. Immoral Wasteland is just, it just, you remember the chase in the end of Mad Max 2? In fact, someone should make a video where they just edit together all the Mad Max fight scenes or car chases, and that would make the perfect soundtrack to it, a perfect video to it at least. But again, every single song on this is amazing. Christian Resistance, the final track as well, the opening riff on that is fucking awesome. But yeah, and the band just sounds so raw on this, and Keith's vocals, he was a fantastic vocalist, but you could tell, I don't know, I discussed this, it was like he had the ability but didn't quite know how to, he didn't have the technical, he wasn't taught how to sing, he just did it. And it's like the notes he hits on this, not every note is perfect, but it's even more perfect because it's perfectly imperfect. You can tell he's just going for it, and sometimes he hits the notes and sometimes he doesn't. But it just sounds excellent anyway because no one else can sing like him. He's just going for it, and that's what's so good about these albums. Both albums, it sounds like the band are playing live in the room. It's great, and as thrashy and technical, as energetic as it is, it retains the melody of classic heavy metal as well. But yeah, this is a real underrated album. It's really grown on me over the years, and this and the next album, when I want thrash, these are the 2 albums I go to first, really. So yeah, I can't Can't say enough about Holy Terror. And now the grand finale. I think this is the best thrash metal album ever recorded. Yes, that includes Rain in Blood. But yeah, here it is. I love everything by this band. Dark Angel, Darkness Descends. Again, the next album, Leave Scars, is probably just as good, actually, in a way. And I even love Time Will Not Heal. That album, you need to spend some time with it, though. That you need to work on that one. That rewards repeated listens, but trust me, Time Does Not Heal. A lot of people give that album shit, but trust me, stick with it for a while. Listen to it for a good, for a couple of weeks, and trust me, when it clicks, that album is awesome. So yeah, I love everything by Dark Angel. Dark Angel are my favourite thrash metal band when all is said and done. But I wouldn't, as much as I love the next two albums, they're not the ones to start with. I think this is your entry album. But yeah, when anyone says what is the best thrash metal album, this gets my vote. This is just a raw, dark, atmospheric. I think it's not even that long. It's like 7 songs, but it's just awesome. It's just amazing. That opening riff just sounds so dirty and nasty. And yeah, Anthrax has got I Am the Law, but Dark Angel have got Darkness Descends. The song is about Judge Death. Have I got anything cool in here? I think I've got a poster. I didn't even know I had that. I might frame that. What's the one I really like on here though? Merciless Death, with that Steve Harris intro on the bass, that and then there's that lick on the guitar that goes, and that's that run of the plectrum over the strings. It just sounds so dark and nasty. I'm feeling quite dry at the moment, so I'm not gonna go for the merciless death. But yeah, every song on this is amazing. It's a perfect album. Again, production, whatever. It sounds raw. It sounds nasty. It sounds like it sounds like a band that have played these songs 1,000 times and they know them off by heart. They know them in their sleep. And it's just a dark, heavy, raw, nasty half hour. It's amazing. I love this album. And yeah, in my vote, the best thrash metal album ever recorded by anyone. These are really cool additions as well. Got all 3 of the albums in this one. Yes, I know We Have Arrived, but that wasn't a proper release until they were properly signed. But I do have it. But it's not in the dark edition like this. But yeah, and again, these were another band as well that were sort of forerunners for death metal, really. That was like a nice little segue in. And they certainly had the death metal atmosphere in terms of like the horror and. But yeah, absolutely adore Dark Angel. These are my favourite. So yeah, before anyone feels like starting, this is my favourite, not yours. I didn't say they were the best. Well, I did with Dark Angel, but you know what I mean. Don't argue with me. Just tell me what your favourites are, because everyone's got favourites for different reasons. So if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. This is a thank you for getting me up to 700 subscribers, and yeah, I had to do the list, otherwise I was just never going to finish it, basically. So, like I say, it gets a loose at the bottom, but the top 5 I'm pretty solid with, and yeah, not only is this my favourite thrash album, I think it's the best ever, but I adore Holy Terror. I love that band. Gathering will always be one of my favourite albums, regardless of genre. This is a late to the bar. This is a later classic that I've only just but discovered. I think Devastation Idolatry is really underrated. But I love all these albums as well. And I love all the albums that I forgot. So, yeah. As always, folks, thank you for watching. And I'll see you all soon when I think of what to do next. So take care. Have a good weekend. Hope you're all doing well. See you all soon. Bye.